I am so proud of Maci and her dedication and hard work. NHD is a year-long project. I gave her like a monthly agenda, some goals, set goals for her. One of the things that's tricky about History Day is that there is a rubric at each level, but people put in their own opinions, so it's very opinionated. So in the local, regional level, a judge might tell you, hey, I think you should work on this area of your project. Then when you go to state, you may have a judge that turns around and says, well, you shouldn't have done this, you should have done this instead. So you make changes, and then when you go to nationals, then they may tell you to go back to what Judge 1 told you. Being showcased by the Smithsonian is awesome. It takes lots of research, hundreds of sources of materials, and Maci has set an example for other students. I've had junior high students that after regionals, I showed her video and they were like, ooh, I want to do a video next year. I want to do a documentary. So she's a good inspiration to other people, and I'm blessed to work with her and appreciate all her hard work and diligence.
National History Day for me is a lot about the interviews. Not only are you interviewing these people to contribute to your project and your research, but it also really helps you make connections with people outside of this small town of Livingston. Some of the connections I've made with people range from Washington, D.C. to New York, newspaper writers, activists, especially a professor of law at Harvard University this year. Her name's Annette Gordon-Reed. She's actually from Livingston, which was it was an interesting conversation that we had, talking about what it was like for her growing up around here and what it was like for me growing up around here, considering how different our lives are. It's just really neat to me that through this project, I've been able to make all these connections with people and find people that are from here that made it out into the big world of Harvard Law School. And I don't know, it's just been a very interesting and great experience. The most difficult part about National History Day for me is really narrowing down the story you want to tell. I always want you to know the whole story. I want to get the big picture, and you want to present every side of that. And within a 10-minute documentary, that's very difficult. And especially with COVID doing it virtually this year, there weren't interviews with judges, and there wasn't a conversation with them where you could really discuss what was important about your project. And so I found that very difficult. And that was always my favorite part of the whole process, because you get to tell your story and you get to be enthusiastic about all your hard work. And so I found that very difficult this year. I first applied for the Smithsonian Documentary Showcase just kind of on a whim. I was like, it probably won't happen, but it's really neat that they're doing this, and this would be an awesome thing to put on applications. And so I just applied for it just for fun, and I got an email. I was actually asleep, and I woke up to an email on my phone, and it was from the head of the National History Day contest, and it was telling me that I got picked, and I was just so excited, and I immediately called my mom, and I was like just ecstatic to tell her and tell my dad and the whole fam, and it was just a really exciting moment, especially to share with my mom. The Smithsonian Documentary Showcase is also really cool because I'm able to use that for almost kind of credibility. I've already started on my National History Day project for next year, and it's a lot easier to get people to interview with you for that project if you're able to say that you have a documentary published at a museum showcase. And I really feel like that's just something really cool that I'll never forget.